Hey y'all, we are back. We are at season 4, episode 9. These 2.5 months literally flew by. Like, I feel like we just started watching. This episode got us so far in the game. It was also so very cringe-worthy. Like, I was like every other scene. But it was a good episode, and it gave us a lot of gems just as far as like what you want out of life, what you expect out of life, especially in relationship with other human beings. And you don't just take everybody's shit. And honesty is the best policy. But anyway, let's get into it. So the episode opens up with Issa and Lawrence being Issa and Lawrence. And it was, look, that couch got that work. Okay? Everything that they have done, phase by phase. All their comfortability with one another, all of their daily leisure is going down on the immigrant couch. Sheesh. But I do like the approach that Issa is taking with this, because it's like, this is a value, this relationship, even if it's not going to continue to be a romantic relationship. When you have history like that with somebody, you don't want to hurt them. You don't want to be selfish and do things behind their back that make them not trust you, especially because she has a history of cheating. So I appreciate her telling him about the situation with Nathan. She's like, you know, I don't want to mess this up, but what is this? The what is this question is the question of the year when it comes to situationships that have no labels and y'all are just kicking it. Because when you start catching feelings, you really want to know the answer. What is this? And I really didn't like either of their explanations or answer to that question, or maybe Issa didn't answer it, but I just didn't like her regarding the fact that when she asked about Condola, he was like, yeah, we be talking and shit. And what else? What else y'all be doing? And like, okay, y'all talk. Clearly y'all talk because this was blowing up your phone when we went on our date. But what are y'all talking about? That's the question. From there, we go to Molly. Molly going to therapy. Molly needs therapy because she has a hard time with all her relationships. You know, it's not just her friendship, it's not just her romantic relationship, it's not just her work relationship, it's not just her family relationship with her dad. It's just like really difficult for her to come out of self, you know. As much as she's calling Issa selfish, I think some of the things that she does and says is super selfish. When you are the only factor in every relationship, when you don't give anyone else their humanness, if you don't have any regard for human beings being themselves and making mistakes, like, she's a big grudge holder, as if everyone else in the world is supposed to live to this Molly standard. But when Molly do F shit to people, it's like, oh well, it was their fault, look what they did to me. It's kind of like, okay, well, maybe that's why Issa went behind your back, because you were not willing and open in being a friend with her, and she needed your help and she was desperate, so she went behind your back. Wrong, but you understand why, and talk to her about it and move forward. Is it really worth ending a relationship and holding a grudge? She need coping skills for that. I do say, like I think I just said, that Issa did cross the line. I don't care what anyone says. If I tell you don't talk to my man, don't talk to my man, whether I'm right or wrong. It's just what this is my man, okay? Not yours. Even if it's totally unreasonable, sis, fall back. Don't mess with my man, cause I'm gonna be the one that begins with you. Patterns are definitely a theme. I just said she has a problem in relationship with like holding grudges, not getting over, not allowing people to be human. And I think that's what Dr. Rhonda was showing her. Like, You know, at what point do you not realize that there is a common denominator here, and while people do commit offense, these are the people you love? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be in a relationship? And I saw Tabitha Brown and her husband Chance. You know, they do Fridays with Tab and Chance. Y'all should check it out. They're a really, really good black love couple. But Chance said that about being in a relationship with Tabitha. He said that's some advice that his father-in-law gave him. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be in love? Or do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Something to that effect. And it's very true. Everything in life is not about being right. And I'm preaching to this choir. I'm talking to myself here because I'm one of those people like, I'm right. Excuse me? No, you don't know. I'm right. Okay, I've grown up in that vessel of being right, and I've had to learn how to do that, especially in relationship with others. It's not always about being right. Okay, be right in here, be right in here, but the right don't have to keep coming out your mouth. You know, you need to protect your peace. That's the biggest thing. You want to protect your peace. So let the world be the world, and know that you're right in your heart, and keep moving and keep loving the people that you love. Love someone so much that you let them be right, or let them think that they're right, because you love them. I think that's a very simple concept. And then she asked her, Dr. Rhonda asked Molly if she wants to do the work. And that's a big determining factor. Relationships are work. And you have to decide if this is a relationship that's fitting for you at that time, and if you value it enough to do the work. Now, the nice thing or the right thing to say would be, oh, this is my friend. We've been friends for XYZ years. We're best friends. I want to do the work. But is that really how you feel in your heart? And I think that's a hard realization to come to. But we'll get to that because y'all seen the episode. Y'all know what happens at the end. We'll revisit that. The next scene is Issa calling, is it Issa calling for advice? Yeah, Issa calls Kelly for advice, and Kelly, of course, is very Kelly. Kelly has a bilingual voicemail. Let's shout out to Kelly. Kelly also directed last week's episode, the Mexico vacation episode. Jay Ellis directed that episode, and this week's episode, episode 9, Kerry Washington directed this episode, and they just falling all on the, come on, black excellence, they just falling in line with the goodness. But Kelly has a bilingual voicemail, which is hilarious. I wonder if she bilingual, or if she like reading the translation as she's saying it. She got the accent down, the pronouncing, she has that down. Issa calls Amal for advice, and Amal is her typical kid brother, and he ain't really got no advice for her. I love their relationship. What do you think? Do you think that she should chill on Nathan? I think she should chill on Nathan. I think it's a bad idea. I'm not saying don't be friends with him, but you really got to decide how you're going to be friends with him and establish that boundary. Now, helping someone move means we're really cool. Like, we got to be really good friends for me to help you move. It's not romantic, you know. It opens up the door for that intimacy, because now you're in my place. You know where all my stuff is. Like, if I say, oh, go get you a towel, you know where the towels are. There's an opportunity for that to become a little too intimate for what Issa is ready for. I would tread lightly, and I think she is. I think she's treading lightly with Nathan because she just doesn't want to blur the lines. She doesn't want to ghost him like he ghosted her, but she also doesn't want to lead him on to thinking that she wants something romantic with him when she doesn't. When Issa calls Molly, and Molly is, you the same stuff as y'all, my heart sank. I was like, call Rhonda now. She needs to go back to Dr. Rhonda today. But it was a daydream, y'all. I was so glad that was a goddamn daydream. I was just like, ugh. She left a voicemail, and we'll see where it goes. So she tells her she wants to meet up, and they go have brunch. Issa was so nervous, tearing that napkin, waiting for Molly. Their energy the whole season has been so awkward. Issa is awkward enough, but it's like Molly is bringing out this awkward energy in her that makes us so uncomfortable as watchers. She orders the mimosa with just a little bit, just a little bit Simply Orange, okay? I love my mimosas light skin too. I too enjoy a light skin mimosa. I'm a Champagne Prosecco type girl, so really, do you have a droplet? Like, I need the least amount of orange juice as possible. And sometimes orange juice give me indigestion. I'm getting old. I think that they had a good time. Once they broke the ice, they could laugh, they could kiki. And then Issa pays for brunch. She's very gracious. She's not being a fraud about it. You know, some people just pull out their purse to stunt, to pull out their purse like they gonna pay. No, she's very intentional. She's pulling out her purse because she intends on paying for them. I thought that was a very nice gesture. Plus, she asked. That was just the grown lady thing to do. It was. Everybody not grown lady like that. That was a grown lady thing to do. But they didn't talk about shit. And that's dangerous. That's what's gotten them where they are now. They should have had an at-home brunch so they could be as loud and talk about difficult things and not feel like nobody listening, and they could sit there all day if need be, spark up a bleezy if they feel like they needed a more productive conversation than what they had. What they had was cute. They didn't need cute. They needed real. That was very superficial. I think that's how Molly describes it to Andrew in the next scene. It was superficial, and while it might have been a good band-aid, a good back rub, it didn't get to the core. It didn't get the crook out the neck, you know? It didn't do any justice to what they're dealing with, and they should have gone deeper. But they were, honestly, when you out in public like that, that ain't nothing to be talking about unless they got some loud music blaring. Like, it just wasn't, that scene wasn't the place for them to have no conversation like that. So like I said, it was cute, but it wasn't productive. Molly talks to Andrew about the superficial brunch. You know, I feel for Andrew because he's really being patient with Molly. He's really, really trying. He sees the good in her and he's trying to pull the best out of her. But she is just not willing to give. She wants to be right more than she wants to be in a relationship. And, you know, he goes on to say that his brother has bought tickets to the Clippers game and he's invited them. And she's quickly with the brush off. She didn't say, oh no, I'll think about it. It was a quick no. And she's really going to have to realize she's going to have to give a little. This is this man's family. And he's extending an olive branch. And you can't just be shitting on people. Your future, who knows, your future in-laws. Your right now maybe in-laws. Just because you want some pride shit. Or because you feel like he didn't understand or he hurt your feelings. Like, given where we are now in America specifically. Granted, this is preceding what they've already filmed and written. You know, we really can't be closed off to other people's opinion of racial injustice or systemic racism or racial passive aggressiveness. You know, you gotta be willing to have those conversations and explain to people what aggression looks like in a racial sense without being so upset about it while you're trying to explain it. By no means am I saying don't be upset about it, because the shit is goddamn upsetting. But when you're explaining it to people who don't understand, you really gotta keep your cool. And you know, you hate to have to placate other people's feelings or babysit people's feelings, but I don't really see it that way. I see it as when you want to get your point across, you should be able to keep your cool. And with her background and being an attorney, that should be easy for her. Shout out to one of my subscribers whom I love. I love you all. She pointed that out to me in one of her comments on one of my previous reviews. She was like, you know, with Molly's background as an attorney, she should be able to have a better conversation in the heat of the moment, you know? Anyway, it's not my duty to teach anybody what racial aggression is, but if I have people in relationship with me, potential family who don't understand, it's your duty, because this is your family. and you need to be educating them, especially when you want to be comfortable around them. Running from him is not gonna do it. It's just not. It's a waste of time. She needs to confront the animal, especially if she wants this shit to work out with Andrew. But anyway, finding Latoya is hilarious. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened to Latoya, but I always like whatever they're, you know, playing. It's like 2 shows in a show, and it's always super funny. And shout out to Terry J. Vaughn. The next scene is Issa and Koya closing deals for their next event. Koya is absolutely 100 times more awkward than Issa is. Sis got tea cakes and hand warmers, but she's hilarious. Lawrence calls and he says his interview went well. Lawrence is going to end up moving to San Francisco, and they're either going to have a long distance relationship or they're going to have to break it off. I'm open to either. He kind of give her some shade while she calling him rice-a-roni and all of that, but he's like, yeah, maybe y'all needed some space before y'all reconnect. I'm paralleling their relationship to that of Issa and Molly, but totally different. That's 2 totally different things. I do think they need space, but how much space and what are we trying to accomplish with this space are both factors that we need to think about. Issa goes to help Nathan move, and one thing I want to say about Nathan. So Nathan's character is played by a young man named Kendrick Sampson, and every time I see Kendrick on the screen, I just get so inspired and motivated. Kendrick is actually a childhood friend of mine. I don't know if I've mentioned this in my recent videos since I've, you know, gotten some more followers and some more views, but I'm from Houston. I live in Houston right now, and of course we know that the character Nathan is from Houston, but Kendrick himself is also from Houston. And Kendrick's mother and my mother's best friend, they were neighbors, so I had a lot of play dates with Kendrick. His mom's name is Miss Daphne. He has an older brother named Quentin. I used to fangirl over his brother when we were younger. But he's as genuine and nice as he seems on camera. That is truly who he is. Genuine, sweet, sweet soul. I remember when he moved to LA. I have had a few male friends move to LA to pursue acting, and I'm just so proud of him because he's killing the game. But anyway, back to Insecure. Issa goes to help him move, and Sis is trying to establish the friend zone from Giddy Up. Okay, my nigga, like, hey, try to give him dap and stuff. I had thrown Andrew a little shade when the whole Block Party episode came, because I'm like, why he work for Live Nation and he got a roommate? And I really had to process that as I've been watching. And I think one of the things that was important, because I feel like Andrew does value relationship over being right, is he knew where Nathan was in his life and the support he needed, so he was open to being roommates with him because of that mostly. Financially, he didn't need the help, but my friend needs this help, so kudos to you, Andrew. I'll take my shade back. So Molly, Issa is talking to him about her situation as far as her seeing Lawrence again, and he's salty. He feeling away. He's shady as shit too. He's like, oh, the one you cheated on, you know, he's sometimey. And she tried to check him, and this whole mental health issue with Nathan is just putting everybody in their place. On vacation, Andrew put Molly in her place, and Nathan just laid down the smackdown on Issa. He's bipolar, and I have been waiting to see what his diagnosis was. I really didn't think that they were going to share it, but he says that he found out he was bipolar, and like he said, that's a lot to process. He had to figure that out on his own, and you don't want to tell nobody when you got a cold, because everybody gonna be like, ugh. So knowing that you have a mental health diagnosis and it's bipolar, you know, people, it's stigmatized, and you have to really evaluate how you want to share that with people. So I totally understand where he was coming from, and when I don't know how to process it, I'm not putting that in nobody else's lap and trying to get them to process it, especially when this is a fun thing. Like, that's draining the fun if we have to talk about the fact that I'm newly diagnosed bipolar, you know. So So I'm glad he shared that with her. Like she said, she appreciates him sharing it. I know it felt good for him to share that with her. And then he tells her that he knows, you know, he's been evaluating the people that he wants in his life, and he knows he wants Issa in his life. But how? You know, does that mean he wants to be in a romantic relationship? Which I'm sure he does. But with her giving that information about her being with her ex again, it's kind of like now he got to reevaluate his evaluation. You know? Really powerful scene though. But I tell you, I'm gonna say it again, I'm screaming this to the grave. Black men go through shit too. Black men have been told to suppress their feelings for so long, and it is not doing them a bit of good, and we need to allow black men to be human like the rest of the world. Molly and Victor talk about Andrew when she brings over takeout. And like he said, are you gonna run from my brother forever? But I already told y'all how I feel about that. That shit whack, and she needs to get over herself. And then Issa and Nathan walk through the door, and it's just like super awkward, and I'm cringing and I'm worried. But then all is well. You know, they have a nice takeout dinner, they're having cocktails, and then Molly commits the biggest offense. Girl, you need to look at who named there before you send text. But I think it'd be like, I don't think I've ever done that before. Send the person I'm talking about the message. I may have. I just don't remember it. It wasn't that impactful. But you really gotta look at who name. I think it's when you thinking about that person and you see their name and you just get to typing, but you don't mean to send it to them. That shit was horrible. And that shit really hurt Issa's feelings. Sidebar, I really like that game, Celebrity Height. I think that's a cute drinking game. But that suit, it like had her, like she was about to cry. And I hate that for her. Nobody deserves to hear things like that about themselves from people that they love. Like, I'm trying with her. Why you gotta try so hard? Why is this such a try? Why we can't just be normal and get along and love each other? I feel for Issa in a moment. Issa and Molly go outside. They have their face-to-face. They say what I've been saying on video. Like, y'all didn't really talk about shit. Y'all didn't resolve anything. Y'all haven't been. Y'all been ring around the rosy, pussyfooting around this whole situation for months now. And it's not getting you guys anywhere. And then, dun dun dun, Molly says, well, maybe who I am, maybe who you are now and who I am just don't fit. And that's how she felt. And that's real. And I honestly don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's true, but that shit really hurts your feelings. It's like unsaid and felt, but when someone finally says it, it's just like a big release, you know? I feel her. Look, I've said this in other videos, and I said I made a conscious effort to stop saying that shit in my videos with my reviews, because I recently experienced a friend breakup in the last few years, and it was really bad for me just because I valued their friendship so much, and I thought that we can make it through anything. And when we fell off, there was no conversation. I was reaching out to her. She did not want to talk to me, and it hurt my feelings a lot. And you just never think that people that you love so much would be so, you know, easy to disregard how you feel. And it really makes you feel bad. I was fresh out of postpartum, not depression, but postpartum. I just had a baby. My life was changing a lot. I had a lot to celebrate, and I wanted to celebrate it with my girl, and she just was absent. I just didn't feel, it was similar to that. You just can feel the shit just like, and then something happens and it's just like a rip and never to be back again. I feel like I wish I would have had the opportunity to have like that face-to-face conversation. And when we see the previews for next week, it looks like they might have another face-to-face conversation after that. But sometimes you just gotta be okay with no closure and not talking about it and just moving on and becoming a better you, independent of that relationship. So I really enjoyed this episode of Insecure. This season has been a trigger for me because of the situation that I just explained. But I feel like I've grown so much out of that situation, and you know, I've spoken to the Lord about it a couple of times, about, you know, me forging that type of relationship again in life, because while I'm definitely afraid of someone hurting my feelings like that again, I do miss having just like a good girlfriend that I can experience life with and go out and have fun with. And so I'm hoping when I do encounter that person that we are just able to communicate in a healthy way, even when we're offended by one another, because we're human beings. It's bound to happen. We can talk about it and move forward. But this is a great episode. Great job to the cast. Great job to Kerry Washington. This week has been really heavy for me, so I needed some reprieve and just to be able to look at something entertaining and enjoy it. Pray for me. I lost a really good friend of mine this past week, and it is unlike anything I've ever experienced before in my life. I just want to tell you guys to love one another, and make sure when you think about someone, you reach out to them, because that's God letting you know that they need to hear from you and that your soul needs to hear from them. But that's it. Next week is our last episode. What are we gonna do without Insecure, y'all? The pandemic just took all the TV away, but we'll find something to watch. I will see you guys in next week's review. Be safe, continue to love and be peaceful. And rest in peace to George Floyd. Yeah, my dogs. And I will see you guys next week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.